Asia is on sale right now, and if you ever dreamed of living in Asia for the lifestyle benefits, even getting residence or possibly even citizenship, there are deals to be had, and I'm going to tell you how. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson. This is Nomad Capitalist, where we help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs and investors legally go where you're treated best. Asia was always a very popular destination for folks that we worked with, living in Thailand, living in Malaysia, the Philippines, other countries in Asia. Very popular for the lifestyle, affordable cost of living, great weather. Obviously, the last 2 years that has been more difficult. It has been a rather closed part of the world. But as you see things start to reopen, Thailand, for example, has some openings and you can get into there. People are again asking about, how do I live in Asia? And Asia has been a continent where it's difficult to get citizenship in most cases. I'll talk about one example where you potentially could. But it's a relatively straightforward continent to get residence, and you have a number of tax benefits. And so when I saw this article on Reuters from the end of the year, most Asian currencies set to end 2021 in the red as the Chinese renminbi shines, I thought for those people who are looking to park some money in Asia to get access to live there, this could be an opportunity. From Reuters, most Asian currencies were on course to end the second year of the pandemic on a negative note, with the Thai baht eyeing its worst year in 2 decades as the tourism-reliant economy remained under pressure from travel curbs. Just saw the recent numbers, 300,000 people in the last month versus generally 3 million people. So you're starting to see some sprouts, but still nowhere near where it was. The baht was the worst performing currency this year, losing 11.4%. The Taiwan Dollar and Chinese Renminbi, the only 2 currencies in positive territory, were chasing an over 2% annual gain. Elsewhere in Asia, the South Korean won lost 9.4% this year, in its worst performance since 2008, of course, during the global financial crisis. The Philippine Peso, Malaysian Ringgit, and Indian Rupee were all set to weaken between 1% and 6%. And then it goes on to talk about other Asian currencies, as well as shares, which in Taiwan, for example, were up about 24% of the year. But you see, stocks in Malaysia were actually down 6% for the year. I am not your financial advisor, but certainly if you're looking to find investments, Malaysia, the rare market that was down, I know some investments there. Maybe there potentially could be some opportunities. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a down stock market. What I'm talking about is people who are looking for a lower priced entry point into residence and citizenship in Asia. It is now 11.4 or 9.4% less expensive. Let's take South Korea, a less discussed program in Northern Asia. You can get an investor's visa starting at about 500 million Korean won. And so that's pretty close now to 400,000 US dollars with where we sit. You're down to about 1,200 won. It was not that far from 1,000, so you've seen a dramatic weakening of the won for being a relatively stable Northern Asian currency. You have seen that to where now your entry point is potentially $50,000, $60,000 less than what it was, and you can basically work towards a permanent residence. Theoretically, you could work towards citizenship if you're willing to really work on your Korean language skills, if you're willing to integrate, and there's a whole number of things that you need to do, and oh, by the way, generally speaking, renounce your citizenship. However, one of the best passports in the world that is in a moderate tax country for many folks, you do get some exemptions as a foreigner to start out. And if you want a top-tier travel document that gives you access to countries like the US without having to go to Europe, this is the place where you can do it in Asia. It is perhaps the one place these days, with Singapore granting citizenship very infrequently to most folks, where you have that opportunity to have that top-tier passport. And if you just want to keep a residence permit, not a bad plan B potentially, not a bad place to go, where you have a place that's very well organized. And so that is going to be substantially cheaper. Thailand, obviously a much more popular place for many folks. You have an investor visa with 10 million baht. You put that money into the bank. You put that money into property. You can put that money into a number of different things. It's 11.4% cheaper now. You've got the Thai Elite visa where you're just basically buying access for 5, 10, 20 years. That's going to be cheaper. So that price went down. Not really a citizenship, but Southeast Asia lifestyle destination. And then of course you've got all the potential investments. So if you have a bank account in Singapore, for example, you have access to all these different Asian markets. Some of them, like in Malaysia, have gone down. If you live in a country like Malaysia, the currency also went down. MM2H program is back. Stock market's down. Perhaps you have the bank account in Malaysia. Maybe you find some deals there after the market weakened and the currency weakened, that once you have access to that, you can invest in. So the bottom line is the dollar in particular has strengthened against these Asian currencies as they were more closed in 2021. If you want to secure a perpetual investor visa in a country like Thailand, if you want to get an attractive permanent residence and potentially even citizenship in a country like South Korea, and keep that in your back pocket, not necessarily, really much of a time commitment in either of those countries. If you want the Malaysian MM2H, it became much more expensive. You do need to spend 3 months a year there now, and that currency didn't get banged up as much as the other two. But all three of those are potentially options. Philippine Peso as well. We're looking for the return of their program in the future. Probably would stay away from that for now. But those three countries, 9 to 11.5% cheaper. If you've been looking for it, you're starting to see these countries reopen. It's an opportunity to potentially go in as the currencies get battered, get a deal, save yourself, anywhere from $10,000 to $60,000 off the previous entry point. If you see appreciation of those currencies, maybe that's a bonus, but you're getting in and it makes it a little bit easier to do so if you want to have a residence. Why have a residence in Asia? Well, again, you have a good amount of tax flexibility, especially in a country like Thailand. Even Malaysia, which changes tax laws, I think for a lot of nomad capitalists still could be relatively friendly. South Korea, a little bit less so, but not terrible. And so you've got a place where it's different than the rest of the world. More tax friendliness, different kind of culture, different kind of alternative if you're coming from the Western world, and now it's at a discount. Don't stop now. We've got well over 1,000 more videos here on YouTube for you to watch and learn how to go where you're treated best. And if you want to work with Nomad Capitalists personally, go to nomadcapitalist.com/apply, learn about our unique, tried and true process, garnered over years of experience, and learn how you can become our client.